Having camaraderie with one of the biggest names in hip-hop, it's kind of hard to find ways to outshine them, or at least find ways to make yourself level with the music they're making and the way that the fans are receiving it. J-Rock has definitely hit the nail on the head with this album. This album is called Redemption, and honestly, this is his best work to date. If you haven't heard anything from J-Rock, the one song that I always hold to a very high light is called Yola. I will leave a link for that in the description. It's one of his best songs to date. I don't think any song that he's put on any of his albums have hit the degree of intensity and just gruff in his voice. It's so good. So check that out before you check out this album. Now, this album starts off a little bit unexpected for me because I didn't think that J-Rock would start off with something so hard-hitting as The Bloodiest. This is more or less his statement to the industry saying that I wasn't really gone, I'm not done making music. I've been sitting back, I've been watching, I've been analyzing how people have been taking everything, and my beat choice and my lyrical ability has never left me. This is me taking what my mentor and my comrades have done and putting it to the world. This is J-Rock's Damn, but it has a through and through track list that you can listen to over and over again, minus King's Dead, and everything just goes and flows perfectly. This is almost like him saying, almost like you're looking at the last few minutes of a movie, how it starts off and shows you the ending, but you wonder what the heck happened for that to at least occur. It's going from the end, rewinding back to the beginning, and then it shows you how you get to the final act. That is what J-Rock does with this album, and that makes it so masterfully created, at least for something he's done. Because his first two albums, the one that was Follow Me Home, that was on Strange Music and Top Dog. It was a little strange to see how he would go from there to making 90059, which was okay. It was almost like his Oxymoron, and personally, I enjoyed Oxymoron to a certain extent. It just wasn't the greatest thing that Q had come out with. Happens and Contradictions was better than Oxymoron, and that's kind of strange to say considering that was Q's infancy as an artist almost, besides Setbacks. But nevertheless, J-Rock comes out, hits hard, and keeps running. One of the biggest different songs that's on this album is called Knock It Off, which is beat-wise and lyrically it is J-Rock's flavor. That is what he does. But the way that he executes his flow, the way that the hook is, the way that the song is completely masterfully made is something that you would expect someone to put on the radio, but he made it to the point where it would be for the not-so-average hip-hop listener. And going off of that, there are other ways that you can grab beats that would be made for mainstream audiences and used for either commonplace hip-hop or mumble rap. Rotation 112, which is basically him talking about his upbringings and the interactions he had with his gang. And it's very strange to see how that's so catchy. But it's gangster as all hell, and I really enjoyed that song. Now, one of the biggest songs on here that I highly recommend, not for the guest feature. Normally, this name would warrant just listening to the song based off the guest feature, but it's a lot more to the story that J-Rock is putting off with this song. It's called Out of Sight, Out of Mind, or OSOM as it's abbreviated on the album, and it features J. Cole. All the while, J. Cole does a fantastic job. His guest verse is amazing. It's more or less like his KOD type thing, but it's not the same kind of hit that J-Rock has. He talks about his musical upbringing and how he either had a falling out with Strange Music or the first major record deal that he had outside of Top Dog. I can't really tell because the information that I have from just prior knowledge isn't really up to snuff, and if there was anything that he had done in the past, it was so minuscule to me that I could have forgotten it. But regardless, it still shows how strong that both of these men can perform on a song, and the hook is very, very well done, and it's very basic. But the way that J. Cole does his verse with his KOD-inspired lyrics to the end of his verse, it reminds me a lot of his Boblo Boat verse from Royce da 5'9's Book of Ryan. It's very well done, and the ending is almost meticulously crafted for the song. And it's very simple, it's very catchy, but it molds almost like a glove to the chorus. That makes that song so cool. I had to listen to it like 5 or 6 times at one point in a row because it caught me off guard, and it flows and it's harmonized so well. Now, the next song, I barely want to talk... it hurts to talk about this song. Everybody has basically memed this song to death. So I'm just going to say, at a max, 10 things about it. King's Dead is okay at best. And the only times that it's okay is when Kendrick and J-Rock are on it. When Future starts doing his high-pitched whining, it's not good. That's all. We've all known this, we've all said this, but for the people that don't know this song because of the Black Panther album, this is what you've been missing. Don't ever listen to it again. just cut out Future's verse. But if you like Future, I'm sorry. No hate on the man, I just don't like it. It's not appealing to my ears. Anyway, the next song after that is called Troopers, which is just a mean-ass gangster song. It's a really, really good song. It's a good head-bobbing song. It's really, really catchy and very West Coast. Very fitting for J-Rock. Now, another song that I don't personally have connection with, but people in my family have experienced this before, is called Broke. It's stylized Broke plus minus, but I'm not entirely sure the reason why it's stylized as such. There's no meaning in the song that indicates it, and there's nothing on the credits that say anything towards it, so I'm not sure. But it's a glimpse inside of what it was like to live in J-Rock's shoes for so long. And before he got discovered, before he started making music seriously, before he stopped being involved heavily in the gang that he was in, it's a little heart-wrenching to see that you can go from the bottom and then really get your way to the top if you try and do more than just talk about it. A throwback to the Good Kid, Mad City days is the WoW freestyle, at least the way that it sounded when it started up. It wasn't like a small skit and leading up to it, it was just J-Rock and Kendrick in the studio vibing off the beat and rhyming. And they were very, very chemically balanced on this song. The chemistry between those two is amazing, and no wonder that J-Rock and Kendrick, whenever they work on one another's songs, it's almost like they want to make the same kind of vision for the song. So if this album ended up being executive produced, at least in the shadows, by Kendrick, I wouldn't be shocked. Because J-Rock is very meticulous with his music, all in all. It's not just, I'll get a beat, I'll put some lyrics together and throw it out there for the masses. He puts his heart and his soul into it. Now, does it hit every person personally? No. Does it hit every person to the point where they want to listen to it every day? Not really. But it's definitely a good way to show that his versatility as an artist is still very present. The self-titled track on here features SZA, and recently there was some news about her possibly losing her singing abilities because she had sung so much during the tour, and I certainly hope that that does not impact her future as an artist, because just recently she's been gaining a lot of popularity, and I hope the best for her. This song is a very good, uplifting song talking about the worst of J-Rock's life and how he had done what he needed to do in order to get past it and redeem himself. Now, the final song on here, which was the second lead single for the album, if you wanted to count King's Dead as the lead single, is called Win. At first, I did not like this song because I listened to it. I thought the title was a little... It was very left field. The beat, I didn't expect it, but when I started listening to it the first time, I was like, man, this song's not that great. And then I listened to it after I listened to the entire album, and it created the whole picture of basically training to be a musical Olympian. And J-Rock has now gained the access to getting his gold medal. And this album is the medal he can hang around his neck. He's very proud about this album. And he feels, after the completion of it, he has been redeemed in the eyes of hip-hop. And I can definitely agree with that. He has been redeemed. He has brought his full course to the fans, and he wants them to feast on this bountiful meal of an album. It's very good. It's his best work to date. I highly recommend it. Now, next week, I will be reviewing the brand new Nas album that came out today. I certainly hope it's good. A lot of positive feedback has been given based off of what the listening party had to do last night. But until then, my name is Ethan, otherwise known as Two-Face. This is episode 35 of Claws. It has been a great and amazing pleasure to listen to this album. It definitely shows that J-Rock has not lost a step and picks up the pieces of where he fell short in his last couple albums and makes something so whole and amazing. The link for the album will be in the description. I certainly hope everybody has a great weekend, and I will see you guys next week. Peace.